The snow was coming down so hard you couldn't see 10 feet ahead. I'm talking white out. The kind of blizzard they say only happens once in a generation. And of course, it just had to hit the night I was driving home after a 14-hour shift at Miller's garage. That heater in my truck gave up on me hours before, so my breath was fogging up the cab and my hands were gripping the steering like I could squeeze warmth back into my bones. I kept thinking about my girl, Ella, just 10 years old, probably curled up with her homework and waiting for her old man to walk through the door like always. That's what kept me focused, even though my eyelids felt like they had anvils hanging from them. Then bam, out of nowhere, there's this shape by the side of the highway, half buried in snow. I almost missed it, but something in me said, "Jack, you better check this out." So I pulled over, stepped out, and the cold hit me so hard I couldn't breathe. That's when my life changed, though I didn't know it yet. I was just a mechanic from Millfield, a nobody by most standards. Dropped out of community college, fixed cars for 17 years, and after Sarah's wife passed from cancer, I did what I could to keep us afloat. That meant 60-hour weeks, odd jobs, second mortgages, and staring down bills that always seemed to multiply. Some days I felt twice my age. But I had my girl, and as long as she was smiling, I'd keep moving. That night, the world was silent except for the wind screaming across the fields. I found a woman lying face down in the snow, her hair spread like spilled ink, skin already cold as marble. I checked for a pulse barely there. I hauled her in my truck, wrapped her in my own coat, and cranked the heater, praying it'd blow something besides disappointment. No cell signal, of course, and with the main roads closed, there was nowhere to go except home. Not gonna lie, part of me thought, "Jack, you're nuts," but you know what I mean? Sometimes you just move because your heart tells you it's the right thing. Mrs. Peterson, our neighbor, was watching Ella for me, and when she saw us stumble in, she nearly fainted. Together, we got the stranger out of her so-clothed Sarah's old sweater and sweats. Never thought I'd see anyone else wear them. That piano in the corner, the one Sarah used to play, still sat there collecting dust. Ella would ask, "Dad, when can I start lessons again?" And I'd say, "Soon, honey," knowing it was a lie. Music lessons felt like another lifetime. But that night, none of it mattered. All that mattered was keeping this woman alive. Ella stayed up, wrapped in a blanket, watching me tend to our guest. "Is she gonna die?" she asked, voice barely above a whisper. "No, sweetheart," I said, though my hands were shaking. "She's just cold." I kept remembering Sarah, the way she'd help anyone, no matter what. That kind of kindness sticks with you. The stranger didn't wake until dawn, and when she did, her eyes sharp, dark, and watchful looked straight through me. "You're safe," I said. "Found you on the highway." She told us her name was Rachel, nothing else. She was polite, guarded one of those people you just know is carrying a whole world of stories behind their eyes. The storm didn't let up. Road stayed closed, so Rachel became our house guest. She fit into our strange little family better than I expected. She helped Ella with homework, talked with the kind of patience you rarely see these days, and when Ella dragged her to the piano, well, Rachel could play. Not just a little either. It was like the music had been waiting for her. Ella's eyes lit up. The house felt less lonely for the first time in years. But Rachel was different. She moved with this quiet precision, spoke like someone used to being in control, and never said more than she meant to. I wondered who she really was. One afternoon, as I came in from shoveling snow, I saw her staring out the window, lost in thought. "You don't have to wash those dishes," I said, trying to break the ice. She just smiled. "It's the least I can do." We didn't talk about the night I found her. She claimed her car slid off the road, tried walking for help, made a bad decision, her words, not mine. But something in her tone said there was more. I figured everyone has their secrets. God knows I had mine. That all changed when two men in suits showed up, driving a black SUV and asking questions around the neighborhood. You ever see someone's whole body tense up just from a knock on the door? That was Rachel. She pulled me aside and finally told me the truth. Turns out, she was Judge Rachel Winters, a real federal judge. She'd refused to sign off on a court order protecting Maxwell Industries, a massive corporation knee-deep in a toxic waste scandal. After she held her ground, Someone tried to run her off the road. It wasn't an accident. Those men outside could have been U.S. Marshals, or could have been someone sent to finish the job. You know that moment when you realize you're in way over your head? That was me. I had my kid to think about, but how do you turn your back on someone who's risked everything for justice? I remembered what Sarah used to say. Courage isn't about being fearless. Jack, it's about doing what's right, no matter the cost. So we came up with a plan. I'd drive Rachel to a nearby town, get her to safety with one of her colleagues. I lied to Ella, told her Rachel had to go see a friend. That goodbye nearly broke me. Ella clung to Rachel, begging her to come back and finish the song she'd started teaching. We left after dark, taking the back roads. Rachel finally let her guard down, just a little. She told me about her dad, a factory worker who lost everything when his company went under while the CEOs walked away rich. That's why she became a judge to fight for people like him. But as she said, power isn't the point. The law is supposed to treat everyone the same. I admired her guts, honestly. We got her to the meeting Spoda 24-hour diner. Her colleague was waiting, and before she left, Rachel pressed her card in my hand. If you ever need anything, call. Then she was gone. I drove home alone, feeling like the world had shifted beneath my feet. Weeks went by. Life slipped back into its routine: bills, school runs, fixing cars. But things changed. Ella played the piano again, working at that little melody Rachel taught her. I found myself watching the news, waiting for word on Maxwell Industries. Then, BAM-Feds raided the company, executives in handcuffs, headlines everywhere. And there, on the courthouse steps, was Rachel, alive and fierce as ever. A month later, a letter came. We were invited to a congressional hearing in D.C. Transportation covered. Ella lit up like a Christmas tree. We sat in the gallery as Rachel testified, and when the committee asked if she had anything to add, she said, "I wouldn't be here if not for the actions of a private citizen who risked his life for a stranger." She looked right at me, and let me tell you, I've never felt so seen. The chairman had me stand. Cameras flashed. Ella squeezed my hand so hard I thought it'd snap. Suddenly, the world wanted to know us. Reporters called. The auto shop filled up. Everyone wanted the hero mechanic to fix their car. Ella got a scholarship to a music academy, thanks to a foundation Judge Winters had recommended her to. Even the bank called, said they'd reassessed our mortgage figure. Rachel wrote letters, then visited. The first time, she brought Ella new sheet music and spent hours at the piano. She and I would talk late into the night about life, loss, justice, and what comes next. There wasn't romance, not exactly, but there was a possibility, a hope I hadn't let myself feel since Sarah. I took a new job with the highway department, full benefits, steady hours, more time with Ella. She blossomed at her new school. Rachel came back every month, then more. The house felt like a home again, not a memorial. That ache in my chest for Sarah softened, became something gentler. 1 year later, I sat in a concert hall, watching Ella at the piano, playing a piece so beautiful I thought my heart might burst. Rachel sat beside me, our hands brushing. When it ended, Ella ran into our arms, beaming. Rachel said, "Your mother would be proud." And for once, I agreed without pain. We walked the grounds afterward, the sun setting, flowers blooming. You know, I told Rachel, when I found you in that snow, I never thought it'd change our lives. She smiled. Sometimes the kindest act in a storm can rewrite someone's whole future. You want to know what I learned? When you reach out for someone in a blizzard, you never know if you're saving them or if they're saving you. Sometimes it's both. The storm passed, but left us changed, connected, stronger, maybe even a little hopeful. And in the end, maybe that's what matters. So, tell me, what would you have done? Is it ever just about helping someone, or does every act of kindness come back around in ways we can't imagine? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about what real courage and community mean to you.